on page 95, it says decimals and for metric measurements. So look at this table, okay? We're looking at centimeters and meters, okay? So there are 100 centimeters in 1 meter, okay? So you're thinking, how are we going to know how to do that, right? You're thinking, we haven't done centimeters to meters and things like that, right? Well, I'm not even taking out. How many are there on this blue square? 100, right? So that's like saying each square is 1 centimeter. And this whole square, this whole big square is 1 meter, right? And we've done a lot with these blue squares, right? It's the same concept, okay? So there's 100 centimeters in a meter. And so that means we're looking at it just like we would when we look at our big blue squares, okay? So look where in our box, it says 36 centimeters, right? Then it says number of longs. That means the number of tens, like our long sticks in our blue. We're still looking at them as if we're looking at our blue squares. So how many longs does it say there are, everyone?
3.
3. How many cubes?
6.
6. Now look at it says length in meters. This is where they made it into a decimal. If there are 36, that's like saying there are 36 cubes, and we practiced making those into decimals this week. So that means it's 0.36. Do you all see that?
Yeah.
Do you all understand how that works? Okay, I want you to look at the next one. It says that there are 0 longs and 3 cubes. Okay, how am I going to write that in centimeters? Bella?
0, 3.
0, 3. So it said that there were 0 longs. So that means there's 0 groups of 10. That's what longs means. And there were 3 cubes. Okay? Can you write this where it says centimeter, length in centimeters? Write this where it says length in centimeters. Yes, Lincoln? 95. And so if this is my length in centimeters, how am I going to make this into a decimal, Keegan? If this is how many cubes I have, how am I going to make that into a decimal? Kind of. We're going to do 0.03. Okay? 0. You can't see the point online very well. There we go. 0.03. Right? We have 3 hundredths. We have 3 of our hundredths cubes, and that's it. Right? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, so on this next one, it tells us we have 8 centimeters, right? So how many longs is that? How many groups of 10? Everyone?
0.
0. We have 0 groups of 10, right? And then how many cubes is that, everyone?
8.
8. So where it says number of longs, you need to put 0, and number of cubes, you need to put 8. Can you do that now, please? And then someone raise your hand and tell me how to make this into a decimal. Keegan?
So you put a 0 beside it, then a point. Okay.
I get what you're saying. You put a 0 and then the point, right?
Yeah.
So we have 0.08. Can I put 0.8?
No.
No, because that's saying I have 8 groups of 10, right? I have 8 hundredths. I need it to represent that. Okay? Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. Now, look at this next one. All it did was give me my decimal, which was 0.3?
Yeah.
0.3. That's all it gives me. And I have to fill in the rest, right? You cannot see my little dots. There we go. Okay? So, how many groups of cubes am I going to have? Do I have any cubes by themselves?
No.
No. So where it says number of cubes, we put a big old 0. Okay? Now it says groups of longs. How many groups of 10 do I have, Joseph? 3. So how many centimeters is this?
30.
30. Good. Because it's saying we have 3 groups of 10. Do you all see that? Do you understand it?
Yeah.
Okay. Now this next one tells me I have 4 longs and 3 cubes. So what is my number here, Ben? If I have 4 longs, which means 4 groups of 10, and 3 cubes, what is my number? 43 centimeters. Good. So where it says length in centimeters, you need to put 43. How am I going to write that as a decimal, Sarah?
You're going to put a 0, then a decimal point, and then 43.
Right, 0.43. All right. Now look at this very last one. Okay? This one's a little different. We have 168 centimeters. Okay? Now, this one they don't tell us how many holes they don't ask us how many holes we have, right? They ask us how many longs, which how many tens. So how many groups of 10 am I going to need? Lillian? 16. You need 16 longs. Because if you have 16 longs, that's like saying you have 160. 16 times 10 is 160, right? So you need to have, okay, so look. If we do this, if I made this into money, I'm just adding my decimal, right? Which I'm giving you guys the answer for the last. This is how you're going to write it as meters, right? If I only have dimes and pennies, when we look at this, we're looking at it as if we're taking this money and we're making it only using dimes and pennies, okay? How many dimes does it take to make a whole dollar? Everyone?
10.
10, okay? I have 10 dimes to make a dollar, and then I have 6 more dimes to get my 60, right? 10 plus 6 is 16. So we have how many longs?
16.
16. And how many pennies do we have, or how many 1 cubes do we have? 8. Then this is how you write it as a decimal, because you have a whole, you have over 100, and then you have 68. So 1.68. Okay? Does that make sense? Okay, this next part we're going to do very quick because I know you guys have done these. Number 2, we're saying if it's less than, greater than, or equal to. Okay? We have 0.09 or 0.12. Who can tell me if it's less than or equal to? Grace? Less than. Good. Number 3, 0.24 or 0.48. Joseph, less than, greater than, or equal to? Number 3. Is it less than, greater than, or equal to? Less than. Good. Number 4, 0.10 or 0.02. Grace? Or Mary?
Greater than.
Greater than. 0.18 and 0.5. Link. Number 5.
Less than.
Less than. Good. 0.2 and 0.08. Charisma? Greater than. And Keegan, number 7, 0.3 and 0.24. This one they're trying to trick you on. Greater than. Good, because that's like saying you have 0.30 and 0.24, right? Good. Now, let's look at this next part together. It says, follow these directions on the ruler. Use the base 10 blocks to help you. So, we're just going to pretend, okay? It says to make a dot at 4 centimeters and label this letter A, okay? So go to number 4 on your ruler and put a dot on the top and label it A. Alright, so now it says make a dot at 0.1 meters and label it letter B. What is 0.1 meters in centimeters? How many centimeters is that? Grace?
1.
Not 1. That would be if it was 0.01. This one is in what place, guys? Who can tell me what place this is in, Lincoln?
10.
The 10th place. So this is 10 centimeters. So go to the 10 centimeter mark, make a dot, and put a letter B. Now make a dot at 0.15 meters and label it letter C. How many centimeters is that, Ben? 0.15 meters. How many centimeters is that? 15. It's the same as looking at it as pennies and dollars, but now it's centimeters and meters, okay? Yes, Keegan?
Since they were to give us a ruler,
You don't need your ruler, nope.
oh.
And make a dot at 0.08 meters and label it D. So how many centimeters is this, Bella?
8.
8. Good.